Hey folks, it's Ardwulf. Welcome. Today we're going to do another unboxing. Here we have Kingdom of Heaven, the Crusader States 1097 to 1291. This is from Multiman Publishing, and it is a game designed by Scott DeBrestian, I think. So let's open it up and see what we have in here. This is a game I've been looking at for a very long time. I think personally that there is not as many games about the Crusades as I would like to see. This is one of two games of its scale that I am aware of, both of which are point-to-point card-driven games. The other of those two is Richard Berg, the late Richard Berg's, I would say unironically classic Onward Christian Soldiers from GMT, which is a game that I've played and which I like a lot. I haven't played it in a long time. Kingdom of Heaven. I know that the Player's Aid has done some content on this, so you may swing over to their channel. I will assume that if you are here, you are already aware of the Player's Aid. If not, please remedy that immediately. So I will put a note in the notes below with a link. So if you don't have it, you can have it. All right, so we have a couple of dice flying all over the place. I need tweezers to extract this die. All right, so we have two decks of cards. I'm not sure I've ever owned a multi-man card-driven game before. I don't believe this is the only one that they've done. All right, I absolutely cannot get that die out of here without tipping the box. So we've had a long weekend. There's the traditional multi-man card that tells us what's in here. So one mounted map, 3 counter sheets, 2 player aids, 2 decks of cards, a KOH rulebook, KOH scenario book, and 2 6-sided dice. We definitely have dice. All right, so I suspect this is not a mounted rulebook. This is some kind of heavy cardstock, and it is. All right, we'll get to that in a second. Let me dump everything and see what we have. Kingdom of Heaven Rules of Play. This is a very sharp 32-page, full-color, glossy, not super-duper glossy, but glossy rulebook. Relatively small print, but also pretty well spaced out rulebook. I don't think this, just at a glance, looking at the format, will be a problem to absorb. But it does appear that perhaps aside from the last few pages, it's all rules and not examples of play and stuff like that. That's pretty much the case. At least 24 pages of actual rules here. So we got that. We have a counter sheet. Kingdom of Heaven, Crusader States, sheet 3. Okay, so these look like 5/8" counters to me. They're double-sided, as you'd expect. They're on a modest, I think not super-duper thick, but fairly stiff white core stock. This is a totally adequate counter stock, if you ask me. All right, we have a Player's Aid card. Combat table, attrition table. It's not surprising that there's attrition in this era. A pursuit table, leader loss. You can get your leaders killed. That's fun. Let's keep that out for now. We have another counter sheet. I would guess that the red guys are the Crusaders, and the green are the native Muslims of the area, and perhaps the purples are the Byzantines, maybe? That's possible. My lighting in here is garbage. I apologize for that. I'm going to fix that before I make the next video. Another counter sheet. This looks pretty similar to the last one. Again, we get some red guys, some blue guys, some green guys, and some gray guys who are Fatimids. Okay, so 3 counter sheets. A scenario book, which is, again, glossy, full color, 24 pages. Let's get a sense of how many scenarios we have. Looks like quite a few. Deus Iu Vult, the First Crusade, the Learning Scenario, Quantum Predecessorices. I don't know if I'm doing that correctly. Like I said, the lighting's bad. The Fall of the Caliphate, Audita Tremendi, Quia Maior, the Fifth Crusade. So this goes all the way up to the 5th, 7th Crusades and Mongol invasion. Wow, okay. I didn't know that. That's neat. So when you say Crusades, this is my first time air quoting in that direction, it's actually a somewhat more open term than a somewhat broader term than we typically think. I at least always thought of the Crusades as these things where some medieval guys in armor went to the Middle East to try and retake Jerusalem. And it's actually more broad than that. There were also the Baltic Crusades that occurred in the Baltic area that the Teutonic Knights were involved in. If you have seen the game Nevsky from GMT and designer Volko Ruhnke, those are on that subject. There was also the Albigensian Crusade, which was in Provence, the southern part of France, in the 13th century, I think, something like that. So that was a big, ugly scene. So it's not just, when we say that word, historically, we don't just mean necessarily these numbered crusades that we always think of. So the map. Okay, so this is interesting. Also, this is a physically quite atypical MMP game, actually. This is on a like a cardstock. It's not a hard-mounted map, but it's a cardstock map, and it's on, I think, a heavier cardstock than I've ever seen used for this kind of thing elsewhere. It's very heavy. I'm not going to have a chance to lay the whole thing out, but I can at least lay this part out. And I do also think, I wonder who the artist for this was, because it's all very attractive. Looking at the books, usually that stuff's right back here or so. I can hypothesize who, well, presumably it's in here somewhere. I don't want to eat the whole video looking for credits in bad lighting. And we do, of course, have these decks of cards. These look like two decks of cards, but they are the same deck in play, is what it looks like. The cards are, I would like to say that these are hard to read, but again, that may be the lighting that I have going on in here right now. They are very attractive cards. Definitely. I'm not going to break those out. I typically don't in unboxing videos. If you would like to see me go through the decks for this game, I will totally do a video on that. Let me know. So, Kingdom of Heaven. This is a very interesting looking game, like I said, that I've had my eye on for a very long time. I may or may not do additional video on it. We'll see. I have a lot ahead of me right now. But this is a game I've wanted to get my hands on for a long time, and I definitely would like to get it to a table at some point. A little thicker, feels like a little thicker than average box, too. Very interesting. And doesn't look like an MMP game very much. Oh, that's upside down. That's unacceptable. It doesn't look like an MMP game. It's got a different style of art. It's got a different paper type that it's used. Designed by Scott Debrestian, development by Neil Randall, cards and counters by Nicholas Escoby, who I'm not surprised by that at all. These components are beautiful. And a map by Mark Mahaffey. Mark Mahaffey's another very talented artist. So a very handsome looking game, atypical for, not that, now I feel like I'm saying MMP stuff is ugly normally, and I'm not saying that at all. But this is a different visual style. So let's see. If you want to see more content on this game, let me know. Again, check out the players. They've done some stuff on it already. And hopefully we'll be able to get it to a table fairly soon. And if so, I may have additional content on it. So I want to thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or anything, leave a comment below. And please subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.